Directed by a guy named Michael Dyer, and I think Michael Dyer did everything in this film, including acting all the parts. And that was actually something that at first few moments you think maybe this is kind of endearing. And I think Randy was the one who said it last night in the chat. I had asked him to download the file from a source, and he apparently had been skipping around and looking at different scenes as I had done. And when you do that, you think, fuck, this is the most entertaining film we have watched in a while. Seeing this one man in his green screen just living his fantasy, and you skip around and you're looking and you're seeing him doing all these hysterical, dramatic monologues and screaming, and for the most part panting and running up against cover, while there's an after effects of like shrapnel and debris from bullets flying in the foreground endlessly and relentlessly. But you know, he's getting really, he's huffing and grunting and everything, and you're skipping around and you're thinking, we're gonna love this. But what actually happens is like 5 minutes in, you're like, fuck, this is like a whole hour and a half, and this is gonna feel like 10 hours of this shit. And it does. And sometimes it's like a video game. You know, he's obviously doubling up the screen. You see the gun shooting from the foreground, and you know, he's running down a tunnel. But all the villains are wearing these full face masks, and it's all him behind the mask, and it's all him being the hero. And he uses all kinds of stock footage in this. I mean, there are like full sequences of just stock footage of jets going by, and you know, then you'll see him green screened into a cockpit every so often, but sometimes the stock footage is just unadulterated, just pure, just keeps going. In the color, whatever he was trying to do with the fucking color, everything kind of looks like, what would you even, like pastel or neon or something. I remember at one point the fucking grass was purple and he was going through the woods, and you know, it was all very bright and all very, very bizarre. I guess it gave it more of the feeling of a drugged out trip. And
yeah,
when we were first watching it, the discussion started going to, you know, this is so low budget. This is so much just this one guy's like fantasy about who he wants to be, that it's amazing he even put it out to the public. We were wondering, like, you know, how awkward it would be to be in a situation where you meet up with this guy and he's like, I want to show you my movie. And the movie is just all this guy running around with toy guns and shit and screaming stuff and doing green screen shit and shooting himself. And, you know, I don't know. But after a while, the idea of interviewing him seemed kind of horrifying, because I really started trying to do a psychological, well, I still think we should try it, but I was trying to do a psychological profile of the guy, and I imagined him being like the just a hair away from going postal at the office guy who doesn't say anything to anybody but makes films like this that people only watch after the big fucking event, and he's all over the news, and then you see this shit.
Hell no.
There's like that true crime market that is like, did you see that fucking movie the guy made? Like, how did they not know? How did they not fucking know? Like, he made this movie, and all he was doing was running around with like these toy guns and screaming and shit and blowing people away.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a